Welcome back to Beards and Brews. Hey, if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe or follow no matter where you're listening. Not only does it help us out, but you'll know exactly when we have another one brewing. Fellas, I know you've heard of a bordello, but have you ever visited a bordello of blood?
No comment.
If Angie Everhart was there, I may have to look into it.
I don't know. She might have to do something with that tongue, though. It's a little...
I mean, she was doing something.
Yeah.
You don't have to like it, but it was something.
Maybe I'll learn to like it.
I mean, Corey Feldman did.
Well, see, yes, Corey Feldman in this movie, but about 10 minutes into this movie, I was thinking to myself, Corey did this. Corey did this whole thing. He's responsible.
It's his movie.
So this is officially Tales from the Crypt, Bordello of Blood, complete with the cryptkeeper, who gives us a little bit of a prologue into this movie. And I'll be honest with you, it doesn't really matter. We have 10 minutes of movie time, and that is just a completely separate story for the most part.
He's just there for brand recognition, just introduce the movie. He's basically just like a dead Elvira.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah. I will say, I grew up and I remember being at my grandparents' house and they had HBO. And at the time, that was the only way you could see like titties on TV. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I was sitting there and that fucking theme for Tales from the Crypt came on. And the second I heard it and the second I saw that whole intro, the show didn't really interest me, but I loved that intro.
You always kind of thought it was going to be better or bigger than it was, didn't you?
So they would show you this set with the crypt keeper and this, necropolis that he's in, and it's fucking badass. And his puppet is fucking amazing. Then you get into the show, and it's just Bill Paxton and Brad Dourif killing some Siamese twin fucking ice cream man.
Yeah, you kind of, well, at least for me, like I kind of got that same feeling with the movie because one, I agree, the animatronics for the crypt keeper, whether it be, puppetry or whatever else, great. I thought this looked fantastic. But then the movie starts and it's just like, wait a minute. This is just an R-rated episode of Goosebumps.
Yo,
Dude.
I have this down in my letterboxd as an episode of Are You Afraid of the Dark, but with boobies.
It's pretty damn close. Like, it just reeks of just 90s horror.
Uh-huh.
I don't even know how to explain it any further than that, but there's like a specific flavor of 90s horror comedy, and this just nails it on the head.
It's camp. It's just camp.
Because it totally reminded me of a Leslie Nielsen movie called Repossessed.
Oh, yeah,
Oh,
dude.
yeah.
Yeah, like unfortunately I share a lot of the same opinions about that movie.
A little bit of creep show vibes, a little bit of honestly a little bit of like Buffy the Vampire Slayer the show though.
Yeah, for sure, especially that dude in the leather jacket, whom I was just reminded that was Corey Feldman.
But yeah, it feels like a show that was made for like, I don't know, the 13 to 17 crowd, except there's a lot of bare naked titties in this movie.
This is definitely the movie you go to buy like tickets for E.T. for and go see this.
Oh, yeah, dude. 9 and up, male audience, sneaking in to catch a fucking glimpse of old triple nipple whenever she unveils that beast.
Oh, God, man.
You didn't even have to go to Total Recall.
Hey, man, I got 5 kids to feed.
It feels like there's kind of a lot of movies where their thing is, 3 nipples, and it's like a thing. Isn't there one of the Jay and Silent Bob movies? Is that Mallrats? They have something like that?
The titty trifecta.
Yeah.
Given that is a very specific thing to run into, we can at least say that we had 2 nickels, let alone 3 nipples.
Yeah, it's not a lot of nickels or nipples, but it's weird that there's 3 of them.
There's so much wrong with this movie, and we're just going to ride the 3 nipple train the entire time.
Think about this, though. We're talking about titties, but the first gratuitous sexual act we are treated to is a desiccated corpse coming to life and eating the booty like groceries of a man who's trying to escape.
Yeah, I was going to say, we need to get this Indiana Jones-esque prologue out of the way, because that's exactly what it is, except this time it's, I don't know, I was trying to come up with some kind of a dwarf-related pun. I didn't get there. It's Indiana Jones as a dwarf, fellas.
I, too, was struggling because I was like, there's some sort of, like, indie short round joke in there somewhere, but, like, every time I try to put it together, I'm like, man, I'm an asshole.
Yeah. I don't know. He doesn't matter. He's only Indiana Jones for a minute in this. He'll be back. But the whole thing, he's trying to find this spot in the desert in the Tierra del Fuego or whatever to treasure buried. That's what they're going down there to get.
I do love that there were like a ton of people on this adventure, but not all of them have horses. So I'm just thinking all these extras showed up being like, man, I can't wait to just like have a cool day of shooting. And they get there and production's like, no, y'all get horses, not all y'all.
You're going to be walking for 14 miles.
Number one, Phil Pondewerger, whatever his name is, the dwarf fellow. He's in all kinds of shit that I enjoy, like Ghoulies and whatnot. He's phenomenal. But he's wearing a little trench coat when he's in the quote-unquote jungle, which is like a pine forest. Looks like it's somewhere up in Canada. But he was on the horse, and I was taking notes, and I glimpsed up, and I was like, where'd they get a camel? And then I went, oh, no, it's just little him.
You thought he was a hump?
Yes, I thought he was a hump.
Oh.
It belongs in a museum or something. I don't know. 'Cause, you know, that's the joke, unfortunately, for that guy. Like, he's the joke, the visual gag.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah. So the whole point is to go down here, and instead of a treasure, surprise, it's a corpse. But luckily, he has a heart and a key or something that's gonna make this bitch right.
Did you guys like how all his other constituents in the cave were just like vaguely some accented person? They were just making shit up as they go.
All right, guys, line up, and whoever can read the Taco Bell menu the best, you're getting work.
Take one step forward and repeat the following. Yo quiero Taco Bell.
Nice. I hear we get horses.
But all right, so it's this old bitch. They put the heart, the key. They activate her. She starts turning into like a fleshy vampire ghoul woman, and then I don't know. She eats somebody or something. I don't know what's going on here.
Yeah, she rips that guy's heart out and stuff, and then she like grabs that one dude by the neck and like squeezes his head. But like something in my guts telling me like that effect didn't work out or something, because it's on screen for like a. And I guess he got his head exploded,
I remember it looking like one of those little swoosh balls that you used to be able to find, but I haven't seen them in years.
Dude, you talking about like the mad balls?
Yes.
Yeah, you're squeezing the eyes bug out. I know what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Some kid probably ate one or something.
Probably.
Bet the insides were like a gusher.
Ew.
Oh.
Tastes just like the inside of the silica gel.
How do you know what that tastes like? Because he tastes just like my Stretch Armstrong did.
Oh.
Why is he so damn confident?
Stop it. Get some help.
All right, so everyone's trying to escape away from the vampire lady, and our dwarf friend is like, hey, I've got the key. You got to listen to me. Them's the rules. And she's like, you got me there, Buster Brown. You mind if I eat this guy's ass in front of you? And he's like, you know what? I'd be kind of into that. And she fucking tongue punches his fart box with a fierceness.
Fucking hell.
Just a little tickle. A little tickle.
Unfortunately, you're not wrong. This guy gets pretty much gutted by her. And that's the prologue. You get a little bit taste. Like, she's the antagonist, I guess. She's on the loose.
Is it an antagonist if you're just like rooting for her? Because like you're not walking into this movie caring about anyone. You're not like, oh, Corey Feldman, you're such a nice guy. Your character's so wholesome. I want you to survive this predicament that you're in. No, you want to see fucking chaos.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of both in here. Sometimes 3 times as much.
Why in the fuck can't poor Corey Feldman escape vampires?
Well, it's because that boy looked a little lost.
I expected him. Okay, number one, he's dressed like Michael from The Lost Boys, but he's still acting like one of the Frog Brothers.
Yeah. As soon as he came on screen, I was like, honey, that's his jacket.
Oh, fucking 100%. There was no wardrobe. That was him.
In fact, I'm thoroughly convinced that his character was completely different. He just showed up on set, just like, I'm Corey Feldman. And he just went to town.
That was a good voice.
I feel like the creative control here is largely with the, couple of celebrities. Like, Dennis Miller just did whatever he wanted to, especially with his dialogue. We haven't gotten to him yet, but Dennis Miller feels like the main driving force behind this movie, and man, he is driving.
Well, it kind of works out both ways, because even the movie kind of forgets that he's included. Like, the first almost third of this movie, seemingly, he's just not there. The movie's like, oh, wait, there's a subplot. Beep. Dennis Miller, Hey, audience clap.
in the real story of this movie, we got Corey Feldman as like the angry biker, I don't know, pothead kind of older brother or younger brother.
Yeah, he's about like 150 pounds of angst. You know, most of that the jacket.
Oh, man. And studs. His acting throughout this entire performance can be likened to exactly he saw Beetlejuice.
Oh, man, that's so true. And what's nuts about that is, like, we're talking about him quite a lot. Like, there's a lot to talk about, but he's in this movie for a hot 10 minutes.
Yeah, it feels like any scene that Corey Feldman is in, we don't have to deal with Dennis Miller. But if Dennis Miller's there, Corey Feldman is nowhere to be found. So, you know, you get one or the other, it balances.
Well, wait a minute. Were they ever in the same room together?
Is Corey Feldman just the Chris Gaines version of Dennis Miller? I don't know.
I hope so. I really do. He thought he had something.
Just think about it, though. You are beyond, like literally beyond successful. And you think you need to go be Chris Gaines. Like, what?
It's the flavor saver.
He just wanted to try something else. Wanted to see what he can do, what he could get away with. You know, you never know.
All right. Hey, on that note, that totally feels like why Dennis Miller exists anywhere near this movie. He's just like, yeah, I've never been in a movie. Let's try it out. Yeah. And then he just sarcastically walks through the picture.
Hey, I've never been a color commentator on Monday Night Football. Let me try that out. Nope, that sucked.
Oh, oof.
I don't want to glaze over somebody, though, because we have a very important reason why Dennis Miller comes into this. Corey Feldman goes missing. While at a bar, being angsty, trying to bang a fat chick, because he's been drinking Sam Jackson beer, he goes and meets this biker guy from, of course, the film Stone Cold, starring Lance Henderson and Brian Bosworth. And this guy says, if you want the best goddamn pussy, and if you want to get fucked so good, then you got to go down to 612 Wharf Avenue and ask for the wake.
That dude is just like a walking clickbait title. Everything he just fucking over-enunciated were just all caps.
Oh, dude. He was solid.
He's like the Macho Man if he gets really horny after Miss Elizabeth leaves him.
He's just looking for somebody to snap into.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah.
Just about, yeah. He also kind of reminds me, honestly, of, I don't know his name, Ned's Vietnam veteran friend from South Park. He's like, he's coming right for us. He's that guy.
Oh, yeah, he is that guy.
Yeah.
Can't stop picturing horny Macho Man. Just his neck all bulging. I got you for 5 whole minutes of playtime. Owner is ready.
Yeah. So this guy gives some very detailed instructions for him to get down to 325 Beaumont, because that's where Taco Bell, Pizza Hut, it's a combination mortuary brothel in the town is.
I do enjoy the way this guy is over here just like doing his best to manifest a character whom you would never trust around a catalytic converter.
Oh.
And Dennis Miller is just like, yeah, man, just whatever.
Yeah.
I'm just going to walk in there. I'm just so whatever. I'm not like other guys.
Oh my god. I don't know why, but when you did that impersonation, I just pictured Sammy Davis Jr.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
It's like he's constantly just walking and commenting on things that he sees without any idea that he is himself in this world. It's like he is watching all of this himself on a television.
He's just the walking peanut gallery, right?
Yep.
Wow, look at this. I haven't seen a spot this tight since the Iran-Contra affair.
It stinks.
Yep, that's what we need.
Yes, he's a critic, for sure. Yeah.
Who was it that said this would be better with John Lovett?
Eric.
Oh, yeah. The entire time I was watching this movie, there was just something missing, because Dennis Miller exudes that he doesn't give a single shit about this movie. Which, as a whole, this movie's a little rough, but you can definitely tell who had fun and who wanted to be there. Dennis Miller was not one of them, unfortunately. But my brain doing the Rolodex like it does sometimes, is like, you know what? John Lovitz would fucking nail this movie, just because he's just so aggressively flamboyant from a guy that looks like John Lovitz.
Yes. Now imagine this. John Lovett slides into the bordello via the coffin ride. Ah, I took the Skin Express to Tuna Town. It stinks.
No.
No, that's perfect. That's great. Everything is just like this. What are you going to do? Pocket sand.
Yeah.
Is he just like an annoyed orange cat the whole time?
And he's just his character from Wedding Singer, so every scene that he ends just ends with him just like looking in the camera crazily while the curtains close on him.
I feel like we've got a better idea right here. We need to remake Tales from the Crypt, Bordello of Blood. Beards and Brews presents Bordello of Blood, starring John Lovitz. John Lovitz, get at us.
I totally appreciate it that you love it so much, but like, we spoke about it before the cast. This would make for a wonderful Ernest picture.
Ernest scared topless would be amazing.
Like, I can't help but think, like, Ernest is so pure. Once he got down in there, he would just have to complete the mission with his hands over his eyes. He wouldn't be able to do anything. Meanwhile, little, what's his name? Pork chop? Rimshot.
Pork chop. Pork chop sandwiches.
Rimshot's just walking around taking in all the scents.
Oh no! It smells like booger lips in here.
Oh no!
I think he's gonna get a pair of booger lips.
Somebody's got some begging strips hidden around here.
But think about it. You got Ernest, and like you said, he's too pure. So as soon as Ernest opens up the coffin and he sees everybody, he's like, "Ew!" And then he has to switch into a character that's more adept to dealing with it, like a reverend character. But that character already exists. So he has to be the old lady with the necklace. You know what I mean? And she's just...
There it is.
100%.
See, you're that's the perfect idea, because with an old lady, you know, they're like a little like... I just kind of assume, especially like all the stories from retirement homes, like old ladies, they're a little freak, whatever. Like, you know, she's there to kick ass, but also kind of like, you know, she's in a Bordello.
Well, I'll take a little peek here and there, but I'm not going to taste anything.
Spray you with my miak. I'm a squirter.
Yeah.
We're not quite there yet. We still have... You mentioned that we have a pastor. Chris Sarandon, Humperdinck himself, comes in as... This mega church pastor is the employer of Kate Girl. I don't know what we're calling her.
Kate Girl.
Corey Feldman's sister. Kate Girl? All right, that's good.
From Under Siege. If you haven't seen that episode, be sure to check it out. Oh man, Steven Seagal walking through this bordello. Oh, I feel so bad for these ladies. Every single one of them.
He's just grabbing them by the nipple, giving them a little titty twister, and they're doing tumbles.
All right.
I'm a bad man, you know that.
First of all, that happens in the movie, and I had to look away. That's the nastiest shit. Some old... all right, so there's this little bit, like the whole crematorium thing, right? The bodies are being prepared for the vampires for food, etc. The embalmer guy, for whatever reason, made the conscious decision to start just like tuning into Tokyo and her nipples. I'm just like, that should not happen.
Nope.
From that moment, I'm just like, it went from me watching a movie to watching someone's fucking dirty dreams. I'm just like, enough of that.
I'll tell you, there's a whole lot of things that were released in like the 70s, 80s, 90s, whatever, that, you know, you hear boomers say, oh, they couldn't make that today. They could make a whole lot of that today. But this scene right there would not be included in a film made today. I don't care what it is. That's not in good taste.
No. I know I'm harping on it pretty hard. Just take that scene alone, erase the rest of the movie. Explain.
America, explain! Explain!
But we do have this other character, the sort of caretaker or whatever, and all I could think of anytime he was on screen is how much I wish he was played by Tim Curry.
Oh, that would have been really nice. In fact, you know what? This movie would improve like tenfold, just with like a little bit of a cast swap.
He's got that energy he had in Clue, just running back and forth and shit.
100%, and maybe he's got to entertain two different factions. He's got to keep Dennis Miller, who's being all snoopy, away from the actual entrance to the bordello. This could be something here.
Okay, I see what you're doing. Like, he's got to keep the funeral in one room happening while the prostitution is happening in the next room. Never the two shall meet, but he needs to be a part of both.
Gentlemen, what you've explained is, instead of 4 rooms, it's hooer rooms.
I mean, this mortuary could have 4 rooms, and we could be watching all of them. We got the crematorium, we got the actual funeral parlor, we got the... I don't know. There's enough things here for 4 rooms.
What if, instead of that guy, it was just straight up pallbearer?
He's got his little grubby little hands on everybody.
Yes.
You son of a bitch, I'm in.
Oh,
there we go. See?
But unfortunately, unlike our cast swapped movie, Dennis Miller is just like walking around this bordello, which is basically that open door scene from Eyes Wide Shut. There's just an orgy going on everywhere. You might see Caligula in the corner putting a little flower in somebody's butthole. Who knows?
And I'll tell you, we got Rimshot running around here. He is not interested in any of these sausages.
Ain't nothing in that butthole for me.
But you're right. Dennis Miller feels like, I mean, he's walking around. He should be the sleazy private investigator guy who is just walking around here being obscenely horny. That's what this movie needs. But instead, he's just like chaste for some reason. What are you doing, Dennis Miller?
He's a little pompous, I guess, for lack of a better term. He just kind of just walks in like, oh, yeah, titty. I've seen one of those. Like,
yeah,
I just kind of don't understand it. Like, he just played himself.
You're not too good for breasts, Dennis Miller.
In the idea of a private investigator, regardless of character, why does he break in? Not really break in. Why does he get into the brothel only to immediately run out of the brothel?
Yeah, I don't know. It's like, I got evidence. It's an earring. All right, I gotta go. Not gonna collect any more evidence. Just like, I gotta go.
There's a lot of just like seemingly missing scenes or whatever. Like, a lot of times characters are just somewhere else.
Fair, yeah.
Yeah. When we get back to the main game plan, we got what's her name, Cake Girl and Chris Sarandon. I don't know, trying out the Jesus laser or something. What's this thing called?
Yeah, we do have to talk about this whole ass thing. Like Joel Osteen over there with his freaking laser beams. Like, what are we doing?
That's how we get him back.
That's how we get him back. Yeah.
But I did like his character the most, I think, in the movie, just because, one, the guy totally plays the televangelist thing to the T. He's a total piece of horse shit.
100%.
But I just really loved his charisma with all the dumb lines that he said. You know, it's just like he just totally believed that he was just this batshit insane televangelist that got roped into some supernatural stuff.
I don't even really understand why his character needs to be there. Like, why is he a prominent character in this movie at all?
I think it has something to do with the filmmaker. Like, I think that's like a little bit of a message. Like, I guess whomever made this movie sees televangelists as like pieces of garbage, rightly so. And maybe like that was his way of like, I don't know, learning a lesson. Maybe I'm really throwing it out there.
Yeah.
That's the best I could do.
The best I can do is somebody down the line owed Chris Sarandon a favor. By the way, if we haven't mentioned it, Chris Sarandon, West Virginia native. So
very true.
Yeah.
Maybe that favor is from Corey Feldman, who provided his own jacket for the production, I hear.
Thanks, Corey. Good guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, we have this lovely televangelist. This guy with his greasy black slicked hair. He's got the white fucking just trimmed suit. The mega church. Holy shit, there's an animatronic Satan that he is going to battle with a laser that reflects off of his guitar. And when I say guitar, he says guitar. And when I say laser, he says laser.
It's the southern draw. You know, you really get the ladies going.
Is that what gets the ladies going?
I mean,
Because I thought it was scathing hot sarcasm.
No, you're onto something. You know, the Dennis Miller guy, he was just like racking him up 10 high.
Speaking of racks, that's where we meet up with him again. Like he's he No, I'm talking about like there's like the blonde dominatrix chick, but somehow Dennis Miller, the quick wits amongst himself, he gets her strapped into it, so he gets away. I don't know.
you didn't have to leave. Like, you have a beautiful woman down to clown.
Right.
Strapped in, who's like, yeah, go for it, bud. Let's do this. And you're like, now I'm gonna run away. Why?
I don't know. The movie's already 87 minutes. I don't think it could be any shorter. So they had to add some more movie. They realized like, oh, we're already here. Shit.
You say 87 minutes, like 16 of that is that little prologue that doesn't mean anything, except we know that this vampire seductress came from somewhere out of the fucking ground. That's it. So this is a 70-minute movie.
No, that's fair. It's booking. There's stuff at the end too. I didn't even watch it. Like once the movie was over, it's like, all right, cool. It's like, I get it.
Yeah, it's just another revisit to like the Crypt Keeper and the Mummy. It doesn't matter much.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's nice. But yeah, he escapes. He runs away, and as he's escaping, Angie Everhart comes down the stairs, the head bitch vampire.
Head bitch vampire. That's what it's listed as on IMDb, right? The head bitch vampire.
Yeah, that's her.
That's what Dennis Miller walked in and just demanded. I need to see the head bitch.
I need the biggest goddamn bitch in here. Right. this was one of my favorite scenes. She's like, I don't know if that's going to translate. Sniff, 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 sniff. And she's getting closer and closer. And then she just stops and then sniffs her armpits and goes, and then picks her teeth and walks away. And I looked at my wife and went, baby, that's the kind of woman you got to marry. If she'll fucking suck you dry, she's picking her teeth and sniffing her pits, she's good to marry. You got to put a ring on.
Oh, no. She'll take a huge draw off her armpit and be like, you better call off work tomorrow. I'm going to suck the soul out of you.
Tammy?
Yeah.
She's so good.
So I don't even remember where she came into this, but you know who I forgot was in this movie, both immediately before and immediately after she was in it? Whoopi Goldberg is in this.
Oh, yeah. She's just in this movie. She has a line. I don't even think she was on the same set. And then she just goes away. Why is she there? I don't know. Get some lunch, maybe.
What we've got here today, speaking of lunch, from Maine Beer Company, this is lunch. This is an India Pale Ale, 7.0% alcohol by volume. This is out of Freeport, Maine. Honestly, I'm pretty excited for this one. This used to be the kind of beer that you had to stand in line to get.
Ooh.
This is supposedly one of those, one of the original New England style IPAs, hazy IPAs from back in the day when they were all the rage.
Don't worry, I put in some like ooze from a crowd here. Ooh.
I'm gonna feel real bad if it's not what you want it to be, and you have to go mourn with tissues.
Oh, that was a solid line. That was a solid line. So this is not especially hazy. I'm gonna let you know that this is honestly pretty normal for a normal American style IPA. Very smooth. You can still get some of that hoppy brightness there, but it's very subdued. This isn't piney. This is green, citrus, fruity, tropical, but not especially overwhelming. This is a very solid beer. I don't know that it's the hype beast that it once was anymore because there's a lot of beers. But, I mean, for what it is, this is a very good beer, very solid beer.
But you know who's not very hoppy? Cake Girl.
Oh.
Yeah, it turns out all this investigation stuff has kind of turned up nothing for the police or her to believe Dennis Miller because Dennis Miller just 86 the fucking place.
Yeah, he brings back a little, one of Corey Feldman's earrings. I don't even remember what it was, but you can tell it's definitely his because it's badass.
Right.
The one that says bad motherfucker on it.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
And that's just not good enough. Like, hey, I'm a cop. I'm going to show up at the place. I'm not going to believe a thing you say. Okay, these guys is crazy. I'm leaving. Sorry for your trouble.
And this is the point where you start noticing that there's been reshoots. Because Cake Girl, you can tell that she is now wearing a wig. And it is not hidden whatsoever. It is beyond apparent. When you see her with her natural hair earlier in the film, it completely looks normal. Then suddenly she has this fucking piece on, alright? And it's just blatantly bad. So I don't know what happened that they needed to bring her back to get these reshoots. But somewhere between Corey Feldman dying and Sheriff Dinty Moore not being able to properly feed himself, something happened with her hair.
She probably got caught up with them dang old Beverly Hillbillies or something.
Oh, true.
This is totally mid-90s, so she's probably just like hanging out with Oswald from Drew Carey Show. Also, Ernest.
I just expected that she's just been following Christy Swanson around, doing all the auditions that she's been doing. Got to pick up some of her trash. No offense.
No offense.
I don't know. This lady looks just like Christy Swanson in this movie to me. No, she doesn't in Under Siege or whatever else. In this movie, I can't tell her and Christy Swanson apart.
Well, I did get a little confused, like, in the last bit of the movie, because, like, I forgot who it was dresses up like a Blink-182 album, and just, like, now she's a nurse.
Oh, yeah. They rip open the back of her thing and she catches on fire by just standing there and dancing like a maniac on the floor.
Oh, yeah, I was fading at this point.
Right.
Yeah, like after the movie's over, I got the stinger, but how this movie ends, I don't even, there's a laser involved. We brought that up. I don't know.
It totally feels just like we're another instance where the movie's just like, oh, right, movies have endings. Fuck. You know, just
The reshoots had to happen because they realized they only had like 58 minutes. So they had to make a whole new scene for the beginning and then throw some shit on at the end. There we go. Vampire lady exploded by laser. Boom, we got it.
I'll raise you one. They had 15 minutes of usable footage and like 4 hours of Dennis Miller shtick.
Oh my god, they were like, get Seinfeld light off the fucking stage. Diet Seinfeld's gotta go.
I don't know if we've talked much about his dialogue actually on the cast, but did it not seem like every single bit of dialogue that Dennis Miller spoke was just ad-libbed? Like he just wrote that himself, was just like, yeah, I'm gonna write this and it's gonna be funny. They just have it in the script. Dennis Miller, say something funny. And he's like, I can do that.
Now, say something Dennis Miller would say.
Yeah.
I gotta bring up the fact that Angie Everhart comes to visit him because he's got tasty blood. It doesn't fucking matter. She has one of the best lines that has stuck with me since a child. 2, 4, 6, 8. You can watch me masturbate.
I think you're onto something, because I remember there was a line in this movie that just like made me fucking physically ill. I was just like, ugh, why would you say such a thing? I think it was like Corey Feldman. He's like watching his sister trying to like bang Dennis Miller, and he's just like, yeah, man, let me get some more of that shit, or whatever Goonies say. I don't know.
Goonies say? Yes. Okay, number 1, ooh, incest. Number 2, they have this fucking incredible body double. So it's her face looking disgusted.
Oh,
and then groping hands on this body that you can physically see through the tight clothing, the padding to make sure that nothing is being touched.
You know, I don't even want to explain it because I just felt fucking weird. Like, why? What? Like, why are you putting this in the movie? Like, what?
Man, I am glad that I was not aware during that.
It's all right, because then shit just pops off.
The other thing was Marilyn Monroe. She does the whole, like,
Mr.
you know,
President.
skirt flying up kind of thing. Yeah, like, I don't know. It's a whole thing. I did remember that.
Well, I'm right there with you guys. Like, I was brewed up as well, and like, I swear to God, I didn't have my phone or anything, but every time my attention went back to the screen, she was in a different outfit, doing something completely different. I'm just like, whatever happened to the space laser?
We're getting back to the space laser.
It's such an out there fucking idea to begin with. In a movie like this, especially, it does come off as like, we have to put this somewhere else in the movie, or it'll make even less sense.
So what better place to put it than in the grand finale? We get Corey Juice calling 1-800-EVIL, luring his sister and fucking Seinfeld Light out to some industrial area, which somehow leads right back to the megachurch where Angie Everhart is waiting for them.
I don't even know how it gets from one place to another. We're just suddenly in, like, the end of the Terminator, and then we're, like, back at church again.
For real, I totally thought like somebody's gonna have like a T2 moment, just thumbs up as they're going into hell or something.
Drive through the wall, then we get fucking Ernest Scared Stupid, Super Soaker, Death, fucking for Trippy Nippy.
I like how old Humperdinck rushes in, and Dennis Miller's like, hey, are you a good guy or a bad guy? He's like, I guess I'm a good guy. All right, well, here's a squirt gun.
Yes.
Are you a god? Maybe,
Yeah. But now we get a bunch of Zombies Ate My Neighbors mayhem with fucking squirt guns and the song Ballroom Blitz and a bunch of spinning camera angles. Blitz, blitz, ballroom blitz. And bango, bango, bongo. I don't want to leave the Congo, but suddenly we're at the megachurch.
That was a pretty good scene. It was fine. I'll keep it.
Whatever, it totally works out. I am going to bring up something that delighted me at first, is that in the opening credits, it said story by Bob Gale and Robert Zemeckis. Those two fellas are S tier in my eyes, and I was like, hell yeah, they got some good ideas. I watched this movie, I disagree, but they tried to do like a Death Becomes Her moment with Corey Feldman, and he gets like this hole burned through him. It's just like such a fucking Wish.com effect. I'm just like, oh god, why'd you do it?
Listen, it was 1996. Just think about his contemporaries, and then think about its contemporaries at this price range.
There it is.
They're not good. They're not good.
That fool got kung pao.
It's like his stomach plug is on the ground back there.
That's why we needed Short Round to remind somebody to cover his heart.
We get an effect that poor. Immediately, 2 seconds later, with Angie Everhart, she gets axed, and it looks amazing. It like cuts her from collarbone to hip, and her entire left side drapes down like at a 40-degree angle. It's pretty fucking wild, and she picks it back up and puts it back to herself and is like, fuck you, which is the most redneck vampire shit I've ever seen.
It's about time we saw her gash.
Oh!
Well, that totally sounded like what's his name from Tremors. Well,
Nice.
it is a little coincidental that kind of wound is also in another prominent vampire movie, John Carpenter's Vampires, where a guy gets slit from fucking belly to shoulder.
We done that yet? I think
No.
it needs to go on the list.
It does, but man,
I like James Woods, and I hate that fucking movie. It's got the shitty Baldwin in it.
The shitty Baldwin. You're gonna have to narrow that down a little bit.
Harpo.
I get it. So where are we at now? We got Dennis Miller controlling the space laser with his toe like it's a fucking crane machine.
Yeah.
He's trying to get one of those big little stuffed animals, but instead he's going to kill this vampire, shoot a hole straight through her heart, do the whole thing. You know how you do.
It works. Yay. She gets laser beamed and it cuts her heart into 4 pieces, but that's not enough because it's still in her body. And now she's mad, lover. But then fucking Kate Girl runs up out of nowhere and punches her heart through her chest with some sort of something. I don't know what it was. Something with a trident tip without a trident tip.
Yeah, I don't even know what that was or where
I
it
don't
came from. Why is that at a church?
Yeah, there were horses and a man on fire, and I killed a guy with a trident.
I just don't even know the thought process for the idea in the scenes. Like, okay, well, it's got to get out of her. It's in 4 pieces. We have a trident in the locker back here from the props department. What if Dennis Miller caught a piece like a gusher?
100%. They're like, make it happen. Number 1, make it so.
Oh, it's not like a gusher. It's like a little, Kansas City burnt end.
Oh Lord, what's the euphemism for like a bull testicle or whatever they make people eat?
Rocky Mountain oysters.
That's it. Eat your heart out or nuts out.
Yeah.
Gross.
And that's how we wrap this up. We do have, as we've mentioned, a little stinger at the end where the crypt keeper has a couple little jokes with the mummy again. Ha ha ha. Something about getting head. I don't know. One of those kind of jokes.
Yeah, it all wraps up, and it turns out old blondie wig girl, Kate Girl, she's a vampire now. Eats Dennis Miller. We don't care. The movie was over.
Yeah.
It was mid with a lot of titties. Mitty for sure. I feel like most of the effects were fun. A little bit of different recasting could have been wonderful, especially for the lead. Dennis Miller did not want to be there, and it showed when everyone else was willing to commit to their foolish, flamboyant characters. Again, the fucking John Lovett's switch would have been absolutely amazing. Other than that, I don't think it's terrible. It's got a lot of that fun 90s camp. I'd probably still rewatch it again, just not anytime soon.
I'm mostly there with you. I just didn't like this movie. Like, there's some goofs and gaffes that I had with myself. Like, I'm laughing at the movie. I'm not laughing with the movie. Dennis Miller is probably the worst part. Like, I'll forgive, like, the silly effects, Corey Feldman just as a whole, and just everything else. But, like, he's just so just unabashedly neurotic and annoying. And just every time he's on screen, I'm just like, he's just doing, like, his best Dennis Miller impression. That works for some folks. Totally tore down the movie for me. And that's about it.
This movie I thought was a lot of fun. I remember this from my formative years, we'll say. It's not good. It's not a good movie, but it's fun. Dennis Miller does indeed just do walking commentary through the whole thing. It would be a lot better if we had an actual character lead actor that could do anything compelling, but rather than that, we have Dennis Miller who is just, I don't know, spitting one-lines all over the place while everyone else does their part. It's still fine to me. There's a lot of boobies. There's a little bit of horror. Otherwise, this is an Are You Afraid of the Dark episode with a lot of titties, and that's fine.
Well, there you have it. That was Bordello of Blood. If you have any strong feelings about the movie or the show, leave it in that comment section below.
Make sure you hit the like and subscribe buttons. Be sure to bash that little bell icon down there too, so you don't miss what we have Bordello of Brewing up next.
Get out there and follow us on the social medias. We got all of them. We also are on the YouTubes, and you can find us anywhere podcasts are available. And give us a listen. Sometimes we're funny. Sometimes we're like Dennis Miller, and we're just not on it. But if you find us funny, give us a like and a subscribe. And if you don't, maybe we'll tongue punch your fart box like Angie Everhart did.
Oh, Lord.